Hey YouTube, welcome back to Tinker Tools. Tonight we're talking about Dewalt's brand new hammer drill, so let's get right into it on Tinker with Tools. All right, so here it is. This is Dewalt's brand new top tier hammer drill. This is the DCD1007 or 1007 that is going to be the successor to drills like the DCD999, the 998, and if you never actually got into those, even the 996 going to have their most power. It's going to be able to do the most, and it does have some interesting new innovations that I've been waiting for Dewalt to bring to their market. And so I want to go ahead and first talk about what it is, and then after that I want to get into some first impressions testing. To this point, I have driven 3 screws. So you are going to see the first testing that I do with this tool, and then after we do that testing, I'm going to come back and give you my impressions. So first and foremost, this is still going to be a 3-speed drill just like their previous models, and so you are still going to have that intermediate speed 2 that is going to be a really good blend between speed and torque. The biggest difference in terms of size of the drill is this drill is quite a bit shorter than the FlexFold Advantage. I have just held it up to it once. It seems almost an inch shorter. I'll have the exact specs down below. And that is something that is very noticeable when you pick up the tool, is it is no longer this really long drill, but it is going to be one of the fatter drills that I've ever seen. We'll try and get you a close up there, but it is a wide drill up here in the body. It doesn't necessarily feel super lightweight, so it's not like it shed a bunch of pounds to get down to that 1 inch shorter. So we'll have to see if that is something that is going to be a good thing or if it's just going to be something you end up not noticing. The selector ring on this thing feels rather heavy duty. So you're going to have an 11 position clutch, and then you are going to have drill and hammer mode. So it doesn't maybe have as many different settings as what you're getting on some drills, but I think you're still going to be able to use it quite well. Down here on the base of the tool, they now have the directable light that you've been able to see with a lot of different Dewalt drills. They do have the 20-minute work light setting that you can go ahead and turn it on. It'll stay on for 20 minutes. For the first time in a non-right angle Dewalt drill, you now have anti-kickback protection, something that has become standard on most drills in the market, especially at this price point, and now Dewalt has it. And it does work well. I don't know yet if it's something that you can turn off in any way, shape, or form. So it's nice to finally see Dewalt having that on one of their drills. Another new item is going to be the auxiliary handle. If you remember, the 996 almost had a comically small auxiliary handle for how big of a drill it was. And then they actually made it a little bit more appropriate size for the 999. This has grown still, and everything up here is really nice and well built. I do think the handle is a little bit slippery, but overall, I think it is a really well-made auxiliary handle, especially if they're going to be doing a lot of power with this drill. Now, the other new item that we are going to be talking about today is going to be this. This is the brand new Dewalt 20 volt max XR power pack, their new 8 amp hour battery that has tabless cell technology on the inside. Now, if you're not familiar with tabless cells, they are cylindrical cells, unlike what you get in something like this, which is the Power Stack, which has those lithium pouch cells. But the internal architecture is going to differ on these cells from something like your traditional 18650. It allows you to move a lot more energy out of the battery at one time. Now, this is the first time Dewalt has released this technology, but other manufacturers are putting it out there. The new Milwaukee Forge 8 and 12 amp hour batteries are going to be tabless cells. Makita has some tabless cells, and they're starting to work their way into other brands as well, but it's good to see Dewalt going in this direction as well. Now, when it comes to claimed power specs, that is one where you're always going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage with Dewalt, not being able to compare them real readily. But what I will compare it to is other Dewalt drills that I have been able to look up today. The DCD996 was right around, I think it was 800 unit watts out. The DCD800 and 805 are right around that 800 to 850 as well. Sometimes Dewalt's numbers are not the greatest when you're trying to find quoted figures. To the DCD999, that is the one where they're quoting the unit watts out right around 1240, I believe it is. Well, this new one, they're quoting 1530 unit watts out on this new tool. I have the FlexFold Advantage stud and joist drill. That was at 1800 unit watts out. So this is not quite up in that territory, but given the RPM difference on this tool and the different speeds, I think you're going to be able to do a lot with this drill, and I think it's going to perform quite well. All right, so now let's jump right into the first impressions testing and kind of give you a feel for what kind of power this drill has and how it is to use. right, so let's stop there and talk about some of that performance testing. So going through and doing all the different testing, the driving testing, definitely kind of what I would expect. When we got to those bigger deck mate fasteners, I wouldn't necessarily expect most drills to be able to put those bigger ones in. That's a big fat screw. Kicking down into speed 2, it obviously can do it with no issue. That is one of the secret weapons of this tool, is just having that speed 2, because it really doesn't force you to drop all the way down to, say, a 400 or 500 RPM mode, and you're able to still have some good speed, but go through a lot more with a little bit more power. Now let's talk about the 2 9/16 bit that you'll have just seen. When I use this Dewalt 2 9/16 bit, this was purchased today for the testing. I figured instead of using my old Milwaukee switchblade, which has been used in countless numbers of testing, I wanted to have a new bit. So after trying this both in the 2x4 and then in the 4x4, and having to drop down to speed 2, I cleaned up all the testing, and then I sat there and I saw the Milwaukee switchblade. So I chucked up the Milwaukee switchblade. I did not record the very first time on camera, but I managed to grab the second time. So you're going to see that footage now. So for me, that clearly says that if you want to buy one of these 2 9/16 bits, that the Milwaukee is going to be better. This thing is pretty gnarly. It's got some nicks and some different edges and stuff in it. It is by no means a brand new bit, and it just ate through a 4x4 in speed 3 like it was nothing else. That to me says just about everything I need to know about this drill, just from a standpoint of this is a big step forward to be able to do that in a 4x4. I normally do that testing in a 2x4, not in a 4x4, and it just went through it and it did it quite well. Verdict on the Dewalt bit, not so good. Obviously down speed 2, you're going to be able to cut holes, but if you want blazing fast speed and performance, the Milwaukee does seem to be a little better. It is more expensive. That Milwaukee bit is over $50. The Dewalt one I managed to get on Amazon for about 18 or 20 or something this week. So definitely a difference in the bit. Overall, being able to do that in a 4x4 is really impressive. The 1 5/8 in the 4x4, that went through it almost effortlessly. It did the 1.25 inch, the 1.5 inch spade bits just fine. This thing is a big, powerful drill, and that definitely stands out. All right, now let's talk about some of the other things. Obviously, reducing the size was a good thing. It is a big, heavy drill. It's 6 pounds, 4.5, 5 ounces, something like that, when it's on this 8 amp hour power pack battery. But the balance of it when you start to use it is really good. I don't think it necessarily feels that big when you start to use it. The Bosch is another one that way, where the Bosch is a big drill. It's bigger than this in terms of length, but as soon as you use it, it just has really good balance and everything. This is that exact same way. When it's paired with this 8 amp hour battery, it seems to do really well. When we do test against the other Dewalt drills, I do want to test it on all the different batteries and kind of get a feel for where it's at. Overall, first impressions, this is a good, big, powerful drill. Do I think it's going to be the quickest and fastest and strongest at everything it does? Maybe not. It is a very good competitive drill in the market based on the drills I've used, which is most of the top tier drills, if not pretty much all of them. But I think the big thing for Dewalt is adding on the Perform and Protect, so the anti-kickback control, shrinking the size of the drill, giving us new battery technology. I think there is a lot of really good stuff with this. I'm excited to continue testing it and excited to find out exactly what it's going to do compared to other drills and compared to the old Dewalt drills. So far, it feels like a really good step forward. Honestly, I've been testing tools for 2.5 years now on this channel, and in terms of generational improvements, this is right up there with one of the biggest that I've seen. It is a very impressive effort from Dewalt, and certainly one that I think is going to make a lot of people happy. All right, so there you have it. Those are the first impressions of the new DCD1007. I'm going to go ahead and edit this video so I can get it out to you. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. If you have drills that you're just dying to see it go up against, let me know so we can take that into consideration when I do the future videos. Stay tuned, get subscribed, make sure you turn on notifications so you get notified when I put out new content, especially regarding this. We're also going to test this battery on the new impact driver since it's the kitted battery there as well. So stay tuned. As always, thank you for the support. And until next time, I'll catch you on Tinker with Tools.